menopause, because it's all horrible until you're at the other end. And I hope someone's going to tell me in the comments that you do get post-menopause and you become yourself again, because you do lose yourself a bit. So what are the symptoms? Well, I've actually had to put them on the phone because there's so many, but the main ones are hot flushes, night sweats, vaginal dryness and discomfort during sex, difficulty sleeping, low mood and anxiety, reduced sex drive, and problems with memory and concentration, i.e. brain fog. Now, what do I suffer with? Well, I suffer from pretty much all those at certain times during my menopause journey. The main ones are hot sweats. I was stood in a shop in my mid-40s and I was buying things, and it was winter, so I was quite wrapped up as normal, and literally I felt I'd suddenly walked into a furnace. It started at my head and whooshed all the way through to my feet. I was soaking wet. Literally, the sweat was pouring down my face. I was mortified, and I was like, this is not normal. Perhaps I'm coming down with the flu. But then it happened more repeatedly. Then I started getting the night sweats. So yeah, that was a new thing. I went to the doctor, and he said, oh, when did you have your last period? And I said, oh, a good few months back. You know, it's been spotting. He said everything. Oh, he said, you may be in perimenopause, which is when you're not actually in menopause until you've been 12 months free of any menstruation. So I was in perimenopause, and then came the joint pain. You know, I've always walked a lot. I've always been a cuddly girl, but I've always enjoyed walking. I have dogs, well, I've got a dog now, and I've always had quite a lot of exercise, but the pain in my joints, and again, down to perimenopause, mood swings. You know, moody. I've never been a moody person, but I would snap at the slightest thing. And I think mainly that's due because I wasn't sleeping either, because that was another symptom. Because of the hot flushes, because your brain doesn't stop worrying, and because like the anxiety and the depression, because of the hot sweats and the joint pain, it all goes into one big snowball, and you just keep picking more and more bits up as you go deeper into the menopause journey. And finally, the hair. You know, I used to have a nice head of hair. I used to have high and low lights. Now I'm balding. I wear clips to try and sort of hide my baldy bits. And yeah, that's not the worst of it though. If you've seen Lord of the Rings, Frodo Baggins, they're hairy, aren't they? Well, you grow hair where you don't want them. You know, I had a hair growing out my cheek. Didn't last very long. And yeah, upper lip and things like that, you have to keep an eye. They're sprouting where you think, well, how's that got there? So, you know, that's another thing you're suffering with. And all this and the low libido. I have a younger husband, check me. And, you know, having a low libido is not healthy for the relationship. So, you know, you have to navigate your way through this. But you also have to appreciate not only are you going through it, but your partner or your children or your family as well, because they're noticing the difference in you and sort of coping with your mood swings. So where does that leave me? Well, having to do a lot of things and having to change a lot of things about me and the way I live my life. I now don't go anywhere without these two objects. That is the first thing. These are lifesavers. This is an ice cloth. It doesn't necessarily say what it says on the tin, but it's certainly a lot cooler when you're having a hot flush. Also this is a fan. You can see it's only the size of a can of Diet Coke, and I don't go anywhere without it. It slips in every handbag I've got, goes on holiday. I have them in all different colours to match what outfit I'm wearing. And they're only about £2 or £3, cheaper than the price of a bag of chips. To help me sleeping, I now have cooling bedding. I have cool sheets, I have a cooling mattress, I have cooling pillow and cooling bedding. You know, both my husband and I have separate quilts now. People think we don't like each other, but it's not because of that. Because when I'm having a hot flush, I throw everything off, and he was getting cold. So now we have separate bedding. He's nice and snug, and I can have my hot flush and get cool quite quick without affecting his sleep. Mood swings, well, I have medication. You know, I don't go on HRT. I tried HRT. Many of you may be on HRT or are thinking of HRT. I think it's worth trying out. It didn't suit me. I felt it brought me really low. I was quite dozy and I had a lot of constipation problems with it as well. It just made me feel poorly. But I know they can do patches, gels, sprays and everything with it now. But as I say, it didn't work for me. So what do I do instead? Well, I follow the American method, which I think is actually a very wise method. As different symptoms pop up, and sometimes they're not all together, but as my symptoms pop up, I play whack-a-mole. That is where basically a symptom pops up, you go to the doctor and they treat that symptom with whatever medication is available. Or you can have their homeopathic thing. I think witch hazel's good for sort of smelly and skin and everything. But yeah, so I play whack-a-mole. Every symptom pops up, I go to the doctor or go to the pharmacist and say, what sort of homeopathic have you got? Also, diet and exercise. Wow. Well, I've always exercised a lot, but I've noticed that diet does have a massive impact in it. And I'm now trying to eat a lot cleaner. Don't get me wrong, I'm not this guru that only eats clean eating, but I will notice what are the ingredients and I try and limit the amount of ingredients to real fresh foods. I eat a lot of fresh fruit and veg and a lot of dairy produce to help the joint pain, i.e. with the calcium. And layers, well, how do I dress? Well, I generally dress in natural fabrics and I dress in layers. So if I'm having a hot flush, I'm wearing a vest top under this top and I've got a cardigan on top. So I sort of put on the layers and take them off as I get the hot flushes. And last but not least, smoking and alcohol. Well, I've never smoked, so that's not been an issue for me, but alcohol doesn't help either. I'm not perfect. I can't give that one up quite yet. But anyway, if you've watched this, please give a like, please give a comment. How are you managing with menopause? Are you pre, are you post, are you in the middle? Please tell me it gets better post-menopause because I really need it. I've been in this for about 10 years now and quite frankly, menopause can do one. Anyway, thank you.